Nice to meet you. My name is Joanna Zhu. I'm a CIB charterholder with 15 years expertise in corporate finance. Throughout my career, I have been specialized in helping companies to secure capital to foster their growth and innovations. My experience extended from investment from early stage technology startups to navigate conflict exit to international conglomerate. So in recent years, since the Canadian government became the largest investors in Canada, I collaborated with the government and the government agencies to channel their investment into the right sector. So right now, apparently, is the Cleantech sector. So Shabnam, I'll pass over to you to introduce yourself.
Thanks so much, Joanna. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Shabnam Hatzare. I'm an advisor of major accounts with Mitacs. And as a nature of my work, I collaborate with industry partners, such as hopefully yourselves, to develop their R&D and business dev projects and navigate them through the fundings that we have in Mitacs. And because of the nature of my background, I'm a PhD in applied AI and bio, I mostly focus on AI and health, and most recently clean tech sectors at Mitacs. Now on to Joanna. Please take it away. We're looking forward to starting the webinar officially.
So we look forward to present you valuable insight regarding to the grant incentive that are currently available to support small and medium enterprise in the clean tech sector. Our focus today is to equip you with essential information so you can leverage these opportunities for growth and innovation of your business. During the presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to ask it in the Q&A session or type it into the chat box. And Andrea, our host here, will take notes of all the questions and help you to ask it at the very end. Okay, so if there's no question, I will just get started. So first of all, this is today's agenda. So to start with, I will give you some grant and incentive landscapes in Canada. And then I will tell you the common triggers. So basically what type of activities or project your company is doing will qualify for granted incentive. And third, I will talk about the key considerations, what you need to consider ahead of time before you apply. And of course, I will go to give you some concrete answers. So what examples of a popular grant? If you haven't applied, you should apply it right away after today's webinar. And then I will pass to Shabnam. She will give you an intro about Mitacs and their offerings, their clean tech portfolios, and success stories. So we will end our session after a Q&A session. So when we talk about landscape of granted incentive overview, so generally the government incentive came in three forms. The first form is grant. So that is a merit basis. Basically, government gave you a certain amount of money to reimburse some of your project cost, which they're willing to subsidize. And the second part is tax credit, which in dollar amount is the largest. And most people know as the shred tax credit. And of course, right now there are 5 new clean tech ITCs is coming out. And I will have a slide to provide you a little bit more information on that. And then the last one is negotiated. That is more for like a major infrastructure investment. In those cases, government may not give you money, but like give you a land or provide you some resources to facilitate the project. So common triggers. So once you know the forms and what you can do, it will be qualified for grant. So here is a list of 7 triggers which we commonly see. So you can enter into the new market, you are trying to export to a new country, and you're trying to open a factory into a new province, or you can do a capital expansion or upgrade your existing production line to a more greener or more efficient one. And then you can help on the indigenous infrastructures. And of course, you can do R&Ds, digitalization of your technologies. And the last two is creating more employment and also helping out the environment. So since today is a Cleantech info session, I will focus more energy to collaborate on the environmental part. So in the past few years, Canadians' major funding in the Cleantech sector came in the different 4 areas. The first one is decarbonization. So everyone know in 2050, we have a net zero goals. So in order to achieve this goal, government really incentivize private sectors to create a technology to decarbonize our economy. And here I listed a few major funds, like Strategic Innovation Fund is one of the popular one, but generally for a bigger project. And the Low Carbon Economic Fund is a popular one. They're subsidizing a project from 1 to 25 million. And also like there is some Clean BC program, Clean Ontario program, and also medium to heavy emission vehicle reduction program opening right now. So if you have any technology related to this area, feel free to check on us. And basically we could help you to figure out what program will be available for you. The category is EV and EV infrastructure. So as we mentioned, if you want to transition to zero GHG and to transform our gasoline-powered vehicle system to electric vehicle system is very important. But that means more than we just purchase electronic cars. We need to have enough charging stations, and our battery need to be reliable enough to facilitate a lot of business and commercial use. So if you have some technologies to facilitate the EV and EV infrastructures, there are lots of programs from municipal to federal level. It will reimburse you on your project. And then the third one is the 5 new tax credit we're talking about. So the first one, carbon capture, utilization, and storage, people know as CCUS. This tax credit is proposed to legislation already, should be legislated in April, even though right now the newest paper came out to be March, but I predict it will come out to be April. And this is to facilitate if you're going to purchase any equipment to capture carbon and either liquefy it or consolidate it. And another one will coming up along with CCUS is the clean technology tax credit. This one is more general, but that is for capital assets in certain tax assets class. And this one is more related to smaller companies. If you are providing a technology, basically it helping those equipment in those assets class, yes, you and your potential customer or the buyer of the equipment, or even the user of the equipment could be benefit from those tax credit. And after this too, we'll have clean technology manufacturing and clean electricity coming out. The last one will be green hydrogen, as creation is nowadays not very mature for commercial use yet. The last category is a major funding towards digitalization and clean technology. I guess you guys heard about like digital supercluster. They have 4 different clusters going on. And we have skill AI, which is popular. Anything involved in AI in retail, in healthcare, in forestry should really look into this program. And also we have a next generation of manufacturing. Engine is a very good program if you are a manufacturer or you are producing a technology to manufacture to upgrade their production line, you should really look into it. And then we have a National Trade Corridor Fund available. So after you know all the program, and you may ask, how come Deloitte came here to do the presentation? If that should be the government or government agency coming here to do the presentation? Yeah, which is a good question you're asking. Because nowadays there are over 2,000 government incentive program come and goes. And it's not possible for anyone to keep an eye on all the incentive program. And especially for those grant program, like they open up for the program, they start to take application. When the funding is running out, or they have enough application in their pipeline, they can close anytime. and there's no promise, basically, it will reopen again next year. So it's very competitive. That's why you need to really know the program first and have a roadmap to decide, okay, which program I should apply ahead of time in order for you to maximize the benefit on all of those programs. And what we do to help you is, of course, identify the program and build a growth and incentive roadmap along the process of your project. Just FYI, different programs subsidized for different stage of the business. Someone is for R&D only, and someone is for commercialization only, and someone is for growth only. So you need to know which program is for which step of your project, and then we can do a map for you. And of course, most importantly, we only charge a success fee, which means that you don't need to pay us until you got approved by the government. That's why people would like to work with us. As if you don't work with us, basically finding a grant strategy will really take a lot of your workload from your regular job and also increase your cost on grant application. So key considerations. If you want to apply for a grant, what you need to know ahead of time. So first of all, it's planning. So especially for a grant, and most of the grant, you have to apply for the grant and get approved ahead of your project start. If you're already in the middle of the project, it's very likely the grant takes 6 months until it's approved. Then they only reimburse for the cost 6 months after. In most of the cases, the project is already like halfway through, so you lose first half of the benefit. So my suggestion is, if you're planning to apply for a grant, apply it at least 6 months ahead of time. The second one is the budget. So you need to be aware of how much budget is for the project, and also how much budget is from this grant. Because if your project is either too small or too big for the grant, and that won't happen. Like that will put you at a higher risk for approval, or like you would not even qualify. The third one is the positioning. So to me, positioning, this is where like Deloitte really provide a value added into the service, because the government program is a cookie cutter. They will tell you exactly, okay, this is the type of project and we're going to subsidize. But normally in commercial world, we don't have that ideal case. Like we have one business together, maybe I'm spending 18 million per year for my overall business, but maybe there is some part could be qualified into this program, and I have a difficulty to figure out which part it is. That is where we came in to help you to position and framing your project to increase your chance of success. And then on the same level, you may meet the stacking problem. For example, nowadays, most of the company will have R&D only, it will have a sales arm only. So how can you stacking 2 programs together to making sure they're not like conflicting with each other, so you don't get into trouble? We do see a lot of cases for the past few years, when the company is utilizing multiple grant and a tax credit to finance their project, the government realize they're over 75%, meeting the maximum threshold, all grants stop funding. So the government will tell you, oh, you need to find whatever % of a private investment first before we can keep investing to you. And then the last one is a partnership. If you're aiming for like a bigger grant, for example, like the 2 to 3 million, most likely the government will require you to come in to apply at a partnership. This partner not means like you and your competitors or someone in your industry coming to apply together. This partnership means you need to have a technology developer and 1 or 2 technology adopter to apply for it. So which means you can bring your customer came in to apply for those grants, and both of you will get paid. So that is for key considerations. And then here I want to give you some common mistakes when we see in grant applications. Some of them is quite common actually. The first one is you want to file your tax on time, no matter if the T2 or the quarterly GST or PST filing. A lot of the grant application is basically the first thing what they're checking on the first thing is, okay, is your tax on time? If you haven't filed your tax on time, like automatically you're disqualified, no matter how strong is the project. And the second one is have a proper financial statement. Is you need to have external accountant prepare the financial statement. If you're looking for a bigger grant, they may require a review engagement on your company. And also you need to have like a quarterly statement as well, because with most of the program, they require you to report at least every quarter to tell them how good your company is doing, how good is your cash flow, etc. So you need to have that capability on the states. And the last one is a very important one as well, is you need to have other capital. You cannot say, oh, because I'm running this project and basically I'm getting 50% from the government already, and I will try to find 50% later. That won't be happening. Most of the bigger grant have a 2-stage of application. At the first stage, typically they call it expression of interest. You already have to show you have the other 50% of the project funding ready in order for you to move down to the next stage. If you do not, like, people will say, oh, can I just raise it later? Or can I just get a term sheet? Or can I get a letter of intent? That will not be count. They will look solidly for, okay, how much cash you have in your bank account, or like say how many capital your investors or lender willing to commit in order to put you to the second stage of the application. So the last part I'm going to talk about is common grant for clean technology companies. Like I mentioned, if you haven't talked to any of those programs, or if you haven't applied, please do right after, because those ones are generally tailored for clean tech only. The first one is IRAP, of course, help you to subsidize your R&Ds, talk to your local ITAs to see if they have any funding. Right now, we're at the end of the government fiscal year, so they may not have any money left. However, in April, they will have new funding. So get into the relationship first. Whenever they have funding, you could be the first tier to be found right away. And the second one is the STTC, like Sustainable Development Technology Canada Cleantech Fund. This fund have from seed stage to scale up stage. It have funding basically for every stage of the company for you to develop the clean tech technologies. Apply it right away if you don't have any. And the third bucket, this is not for clean tech only, but for every business. So we have the digital adoption program. You can apply for like a few $1,000s or even $15,000 to help you to build e-commerce capabilities, do online marketing, and adopting a new software. And then can export program. Again, this one will be open in this month actually, and it will reimburse you the traveling cost, and it will reimburse you the ticket to attend any trade shows, etc. And then the last one is the virus hiring grant. So in terms of hiring grant, I think from federal to provincial and to virus industry, there are over 13 hiring grants available. And of course, the most popular one is Mitacs. And I will pass to Sharpnan to talk about Mitacs.
Thank you, Joanna. I'm going to share my screen real quickly. Okay. Joanna, can you give me a thumbs up on whether you can see my screen correctly? Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, thanks so Joanna for a great presentation on the an overview of government incentives to help grow businesses, specifically clean tech businesses. Essentially, what we heard was how Deloitte helps your businesses potentially to navigate this this ecosystem, and with many tools in your toolboxes that was introduced. And you can think of Mitacs essentially as one of these tools that you have in your toolbox when it comes to growth in Canadian businesses. And now I'm going to get a bit of the intro on what Mitacs is, a bit of a history, and the instances that you can think of Mitacs when it comes to growth in your company. Mitacs, as some of you may know, I'm seeing familiar names in the participants. It has been around for 23 years plus. And it's actually a nonprofit entity funded by the federal and provincial governments. And from the very start, it had the mission, and so far it has maintained the mission to bring the advances in research and even business development and commercialization to fruition by facilitating connections mostly from academic side to the industry side. So if you're already aware what Mitacs is, and you know that this tool can be used, perhaps I'm going to help you a bit more on how to place it in this ecosystem that Joanna kindly noted. And in this sense, really Mitacs can be used as a tool that might be useful when you're thinking of growth. And this growth can come in different shapes and forms. Like if you're thinking about a new product development or exploring another technology, be it AI or quantum, and how that may be of use to your company, and you perhaps do not have the R&D talent in-house and you would like to outsource it. And there are different shapes and sizes how we identify growth in Mitacs. So these use cases can hopefully have established how, contrary to many other funding bodies that we briefly explored, Mitacs do not really focus on a certain stage of the company, and we're essentially size agnostic as long as there is a plan of a project that is research or business dev or commercialization. And then Mitacs can come in and help. And in fact, many of our conversations with industry bodies, such as yourselves, start when the thought has started for a new product, for say, or optimization of their current processes. So with that intro, I would like to just take a minute to talk about the impact that this model of Mitacs have so far led to. And it's essentially, honestly, an impressive network of industry and academic partners across Canada, as you see on the map, where each dot represent one of the 28,000 plus partners at Mitacs. So the service that Mitacs offers really go beyond the funding to your projects, or of course that is something that we're known for, but essentially the in-kind contribution when it comes to business dev, joint business dev partnerships, and connecting you to industry partners or university partners essentially is one of the services that Mitacs takes pride in. Because as you may be aware, we have like 100 plus business development veterans that are fully embedded in this ecosystem across Canada, and some of them even embedded in our partners network. So something that Joanna noted that actually caught my eye was that, and it's very true, that the success on other governmental funding has increasingly been contingent upon companies having very good partnerships and establishing and showcasing those partnerships. And perhaps one of the starting points of that partnerships can be Mitacs, because we not only require that partnership, but we actually do that matchmaking for your business as well, depending on your needs. Now, moving forward to some of the outcomes of the projects that might be of interest to you, and that these partnerships have so far led to collaborations that 66% of them are still ongoing, and more than half of them have led to commercialization of their initially, like an R&D project. And to that end, something that might be of interest to industry partners specifically is that, again, depending on your needs, depending on the size and the growth stage that you're currently at, We can come in and help you build not only the R&D side, but for instance, for bigger entities, a talent pipeline, because that's something that we do, bringing talent from academia to industry. And when it comes specifically to our clean tech portfolio, we've had more than 3K partners across Canada, from east to west coast, as you see mapped out on the screen, where these partnerships have resulted in 22,000 internships all across these companies. And if we were to take a look at more closely on these numbers and divide them based on the federal government's clean tech priorities and subsectors, we see how projects range from energy efficiency to air and environmental remediation. And this slide, if there's one takeaway from it, is that Mitacs is pretty much sector agnostic, while we have primes and leads that focus on different sectors. But you can come to us if you think that your company would like to sort of diverge in their R&D endeavors. And just a tad bit about our main funding model, which is a co-funding model, essentially one-on-one matching of internships that we can also facilitate their onboarding as well. But a nice note here is that we do have a discounted offer for clean tech projects, specifically while the application deadline is very much close. But if you have a project in the pipeline, this could potentially be applicable, but it also goes to hopefully plant the seed that Mitacs does have its sectoral focuses, and from time to time issues these calls for sectoral specific discounts. And a couple of success stories before we end the session that may resonate with your companies as well, where one of these success stories that was specifically in the clean tech sector was a technology that spun up out of a University of Alberta in 2014, where essentially it wanted to solve the problem where waste fats and other low value organic oils into hydrocarbons that are indistinguishable from petroleum-based hydrocarbons, including jet fuel. And this spin out essentially led into developing a biofuel plant in Ontario. And all across this process, Mitacs have been an active participant, from the university side to its transition to a plant. And there are two other companies that have been a partner of Mitacs in this front. One of the more I guess known ones is G Batteries and eCamion. But I would like to end the note with actual the company like Graphite Innovation and Technologies, which is a fast-growing Halifax-based, actually internationally known firm that, interestingly enough, Mitacs have been nurturing from day one, from the time that their co-founder actually leveraged one of our accelerated entrepreneurs in the early days of this startup, and the company has grown so much ever since. And it goes to show how we essentially take pride in helping businesses in all shapes and sizes grow and achieve their commercialization and R&D goals. So with that, I would like to just end and thank you for your attention, and actually open this virtual floor to any questions you may have from Joanna and myself. I believe Andrea will kindly take on those questions and we can delve into them. Andrea?
So the first two questions are related. They're just, will we get a copy of the recording, or will the presentation slides be available to attendees?
Yeah, what I will say is the presentation slide is more for internal use from Mitacs and the Deloitte marketing material. However, if you're looking for specific information, and you can tell both of our email and phone numbers on there, feel free to shoot us an email or give us a call. And then we're happy to answer your questions, or if you need a slide, and we don't mind to prepare a report for you.
I'm going to second that.
And then another question is, can my company add the fee of this consultancy in the cost to be reimbursed by the federal funds?
Yeah, I think this is for me as well. I think you are mentioning about the consultancy fees in several grant your client applying. So it depends. What I will say is for some certain program, and if your consultancy is required for development of the technology or the adoption of the technology, and that could be work. For example, like the Skill AI and the Supercluster program. But if your consultancy is more for just like general, like strategic management, or like say employee training, upskill, etc., that may not be counted. And also, like you cannot be a subcontractor. If you're a subcontractor, basically, if you're providing the service and then your customer pays you as a bill, and you guys, if you think about it, you can have a double dipping, right? Like your customer pay you already, and then you're getting money from the government. There could be a double dipping problem. So that's why you need to be very clear as well. So you're either just be a subcontractor, or you want to be a consultant. Depends on the case, and it depends on the program. If you have a particular project, feel free to reach out to me, and I don't mind to set up a call to discuss with you to see how you can be reimbursed. What I can tell you, it is possible because Deloitte Consulting have some AI consulting project, and when we help our client to apply for some of those grants, and Deloitte Consulting are part of the consultancy, yes, we got paid as well. So that is possible, but it depends on the case.
Yeah, and then I have one related to the Cleantech tax credits. Are they cash like shred or only an offset?
Cash like shred. If you are a CCPC, if you are a Canadian controlled private company. But that's not available yet. You need to wait until it's legislated, and is most likely will, like the Cleantech ITC and also the carbon capture. Those two are likely to be legislated in April, and you can recoup some of your previous year's expense, but the restriction is quite tight. And you want to making sure the equipment you purchase is in certain assets class, in certain tax code, etc. So that is where, yes, you need to talk to us in order to provide you the right information before you apply.
And then the next one is for Shabnam. So does my company have to agree with a particular student or university when applying for the Cleantech subsidy due on February 9th? Or can the student be selected later?
That's a great question. So unfortunately, for this specific call, actually, we need to have the students or interns identified. But as a general rule of thumb, just so you know, after the February 9th, we do still have this one-on-one matching, and it can be applied to Cleantech. It's just another, like it's like a lower level of funding. It's not 2-to-1, it's one-on-one. But for that one, actually interns can be to be determined. So you can actually rely on us to identify that intern for you. But if you have that person in mind, perhaps it would be a great idea to apply by February 9th.
And the next one I have, are Deloitte fees a percentage of the rate or a fixed fee? I can even answer that one. We have different models. We have contingency, we do a fixed fee, we have time and material contracts. So we can adapt our fee structure to suit the needs of the engagement. And then talking again about this, so the slides aren't available, but with the recording of the webinar be sent out to employees for personal reference. That was kind of answered earlier. We can share information, but the actual content and slides was internal use. And then I have one that says, hi, Joanna, great presentation. Can Deloitte help with preparing the proposal with AI Ocean and Ocean Supercluster?
Yes, of course. Yeah, like the Ocean Supercluster is one of the great project we're working on. And if you're looking for information, yeah, feel free to shoot me an email, and basically we can set up a call with you to find out how we can help you.
And perhaps on the question that we're getting on and on about the material being shared, we will be sharing some general information handout on the programs that we described. So perhaps that will be useful, but the slides themselves may not be shared.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can came out some materials and we can send to all the attendees. And if you have more questions, feel free to just reply our email. I agree with that.
And then how does one apply to Mitacs for internal funding by February 9th? Or intern funding, sorry.
So the best way we can again hop on a call and chat, and there are applications of course to be filled, but the good news is that we do have, as I mentioned, 100 plus EDs across Canada that would be able to help you navigate. If you'd like to just reach out to me for the ease of access, I can put you in touch perhaps with your local representative that may be able to help you best.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, if there is, sorry, are there any more questions? Andrea?
Oh, there's one more that just came in. Are SDTC and CDAP applications on an ongoing basis?
Yes, it's on an ongoing basis, but like they have an application deadline. And for the year of 2024, I don't think it's open yet. So like you want to wait until it's open. Sorry, the CDAP, yeah, the CDAP, like the CDAP application is going ongoing basis. SDTC this year haven't started yet. They're intake of the application, but they're not going to announce who will be the recipient until the deadline. Getting to know their program first and talk to the representative, and they will give you more updated information for this year. And for anyone who doesn't know, like Canadian federal year, it started April 1st. So right now we're at the end of their end of our year end. So most of the program is just wrapping up the project from previous year. They're just contracting and basically disperse all the fundings, but there will be more program coming up in February. So that is the time you want to really be careful to say, okay, which program would be right for you, and basically jump on the boat right away. But Mitacs right now is a very good offer. Normally, you know, the grant maximum reimburse 50%. Right now with this Cleantech program, they basically reimburse you 150% to 200%. So for anyone, it's possible to thinking about to hire a student, yeah, talk to Mitacs right now. It's like free money. You're doing exactly the same thing, but you double your return.
That's actually true. Like leveraging R&D dollar on 2-to-1 matching sounds good. And I do not remember their name, the person who asked the question, but just as a general note, perhaps this link to the special offer can provide you some information, and I'll be happy to discuss further if you decide to move forward or not.
And the next question is SHRED related. So is there carryover for past years if you have not applied for SHRED yet for applicable research? So you have up to 18 months after the fiscal year end to apply for SHRED, but after that you lose it if you don't do it within that time frame.
Yeah, it's 18 months after the fiscal year end of the year you're doing the research.
Mm-hmm. And that's the last question I have. Does anyone else have questions they want to put in the chat box or the Q&A box? Okay, a few more came in. So if someone receives a Mitacs grant, how does that work with SHRED? Is only to the company portion shreddable, or the whole amount of the intern?
So that's a great question. Okay, let me actually include that in the email answer, because with this like leverage, one thing I'm not sure about the different models that we go through, but something that actually goes into to show how like Deloitte's program on this is very useful is double dipping in so many other fronts of like the federal, because what we're getting is the governmental funding, and double dipping is on our side is a no-no as well. So it's something that in like I will include in our email back to you as a general info. But again, goes to show how Joanna's department is doing a great job in actually helping navigate that scene of you know, putting things together on this front.
Yeah, I think me and Andrea can answer this question. So basically, yes, like you don't want to double dipping, right? So basically, when you're applying for SHRED, if you're receiving any Mitacs benefit, we take that part of salary out from your eligible SHRED expenditures. So yes, it's only the amount Mitacs is not reimbursing that will be qualified for SHRED.
And sometimes too, there are expenses that are eligible for SHRED that aren't eligible for grants and vice versa. So there's, like, you might get a grant for capital equipment, which isn't eligible under the SHRED program. So we can kind of ensure that things aren't double dipped in that case as well, because there's certain expenditures that can't be claimed under or used under both programs. And then the next question is, what companies are not allowed to apply, like federal government, crown corporations, or projects from universities?
Is that I assume that would be for Mitacs. Is that for Mitacs, the anonymous attendee?
We can answer. Yeah, we can answer for all. You go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so the to be honest, there is what the eligibility for our side is that the company needs to be a Canadian entity, so it needs to be incorporated in Canada. That doesn't matter that if they are if they're a crown corporation or not. But federal government, that's a different story. So that wouldn't be considered essentially an industry partner to us. That said, we do also have partnerships with hospitals and municipalities, for instance, that they are in a sense like more like they're not private entities essentially, but they are also eligible as non-profits to apply for our program, and they will need to partner up with the university, and we do that partnership to bring in interns to, say, the municipality, to the hospital or the company. And I hope that answered your question on the Mitacs front. I'll leave that to Joanna to answer it, and if it resonates with you at all.
Sure. Yeah, this is actually a very good question. That is the first question normally we figured out with our client, especially when you're applying for a more complicated grant. On the SHRED, on the tax credit wise, if you want a refund, you need to be a CCPC, basically Canadian controlled private corporation. Okay, so your majority shareholder need to be Canadian, and also you need to be private. If you're a public company, you're still going to qualify, but you're qualified for a lesser percentage, and that it will be only for a credit, not a refund. So if a company, in this case, if a company is not making any profit, you don't have a tax payable. It's just sitting there as a credit until in the future you have a tax payable. It could be offset. That is for SHRED. For grant, it's getting more complicated. So for grant, normally they will require one of the applicant, especially the primary applicant, to be a small for-profit companies. And the definition with a small and medium company is that you have an employee less than 499, so less than 500 employee. Okay. If, for example, like I mentioned, like I will just give you a live example. For example, we have a previous client trying to apply for the Skill AI program, and which they have solid technology, and they're providing the technology to the 28 Ontario hospitals to adopting their technologies. But this project is disqualified for the Skill AI program. Why? Because all the hospitals are nonprofit, and also the hospital is partially private owned and partially government funded. So in case anyone don't know here, like the Canadian hospitals are a great mixture of government and private funding entities. And it's very hard to determine whether they're private or they are owned by the government or they are even a nonprofit. So those ones, it won't be qualified. And the best case scenario, what you could do is you can say, okay, I have a project, I'm providing all the technology to the federal government or federal government agencies, etc. But they're not going to receive any funding. And I'm the only company or other partners in this application will receive the funding. The Fed government, Crown Corporation, and universities will not receive the funding, but they're helping out the adoption of the technology. They're helping out the program. Yeah, hopefully I answered the question clearly. If not, feel free to ask more.
And then the next one is Mitacs related. Does Mitacs assist with hiring business development fellows?
That's a great question. So everything with Mitacs starts with the project and with our industry partners and nonprofits. So where the project starts, and depending on the nature of the project, it can be an R&D or it can be a business development project. You can actually go now and I can help you, but it's something that like you'll be able to do on yourself, on your own. You'll fill out like a form for a business development project, and that will actually go out to our all those dots that I showed you on the map, and it will be live on our website. And there will be sort of once we receive interest, we can do it actively or just sit down and wait for the fellows, as you named them, to send them their applications to us, and we will go through that with the business partner, supposedly you, to get the best person possible for the job. So in sum, yes, Mitacs does actually have a very solid program of assisting to hire for those positions specifically as well.
And there's another Mitacs question. As a Canadian company, how can I find a partnership with the university to apply for Mitacs?
That's a great question. Perhaps like my previous answer alluded to it as well, is that everything starts with the industry partner. We do not require any conversations that we have at this stage for you to have the partnership with the university. We actually do that matchmaking, that service to you free of charge. So lots of these, as is like a personal experience for startups, for instance, like lots of these conversations with the academics that we have facilitated have helped them even like navigate their product dev and get feedback just essentially from academic minds. So we actually do that, hand holding through the matchmaking. Perhaps the note that was a bit confusing was the February 9th deadline that I noted. Because the deadline for the funding is so close, my point was that perhaps if you do not have somebody in mind, then it may be hard to manage the deadline by the end of the week. Not to say that's impossible, but if you're aiming for a later application, then like Mitacs would be happily assisting you through that process to find you a university partner that would fit your needs.
And any other questions? I think I've answered all the ones that are in the Q&A box and in the chat. But wait, just came in. I already hired a co-op university student for EV charging software R&D until the end of April. Can he also qualify for Mitacs assistance?
Co-op is actually a different model than Mitacs, so we can talk. Perhaps we have to have a more specific talk as to the specific of this project. But if they are already engaged with the university and they're like specific terms met, then there will be an avenue to change their sort of internship or even extend their internship through Mitacs. But that, as I mentioned, requires us to have a quick chat, perhaps for me to just understand the nuances better. But it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, feel free to include me in the meeting if you set it up, because I know even if Mitacs is not qualified, and there are wage subsidy qualify for the student for sure. Yeah, you can get $7,500 to $15,000 wage subsidy for the student you're hiring. And
That's-
of course, it depends on your province, like the nature of your company, and also the timing and the qualification of the student, etc. But yes, like there are so many hiring grant available, and this role definitely looks like some agency will fund.
Wonderful. I would love to be on that call just for my own knowledge from Joanna's side to learn more about those as well. So yeah, hope we hear from you. And Andrea, are there any other questions?
Yeah, and it says for Mitacs as well, is the special offer only on Cleantech or all areas offered on the website, like ag, quantum, etc.?
Great question. Thanks for noting this, Alejandra. Actually, yes, the special offer goes beyond Cleantech and target a couple of our sort of top of the mind sectors, including AI, quantum, and health as well. So if the project that you have in mind, or you have a partner for, or you have an intern for, and can make it to the February 9th is on those areas as well, then we would welcome it with open arms.
All right, so I think that's everything. I don't see any more questions.
Yeah, so if there is no questions, let me just do a quick summary to end this webinar. So first of all, thank you very much for your attendance and for your participation. And thank you for asking all those like solid questions. Hopefully we answered it rightly to help you to solve the concern on the grant and incentive side. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out to me and Shabnan. And we're going to send you a thank you email later just to ask you for your feedback. Feel free to reply to us. And basically on the Deloitte side, first of all, we have a proprietary software. Basically, we know all the program we write for your business right away. And also we have 165 like incentive expert. For example, Andrea here, she is an expert in food science. Like she could really tell you, okay, what you're doing is going to be like SHRED eligible or whatever grant eligible or not. And we have the in-depth knowledge in order to answer your questions in various sectors and also in different provinces. And if you're interested in more other topics, feel free to let us know. And we're looking forward to hosting more webinars and bringing like more valuable speakers to answer your questions to help you out with your business. Anything else, Shabna, you want to say?
No, just wanted to thank everyone for their for attendance, and yeah, I enjoyed the conversation, learned a lot, and looking forward to chat more about your businesses as well.
Thank you all. Yeah, have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.